Hello, Ian. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about your views on the ERP market today.
Hi, I'm Ian Bromley. I'm the founder and Managing Director of Inixion, having formed the organisation back in 2006.
So, Ian, how has the ERP market changed over the last 10 to 20 years, and where do you think it's heading?
Well, I think the basics of ERP have remained the same. Finance, inventory, order processing, manufacturing, and actually the core concepts of accounting haven't changed for thousands of years. But in the last couple of decades, one of the big changes I've seen are, gone are the green screen applications and even the screen scrape versions of these old applications that appeared as vendors kind of desperately try to modernize their legacy systems into a Windowsy type environment. And modern ERP has transformed now into true web front ends where users are effectively just using a web page rather than an application. And the old locally installed client software is no more. So we've seen a significant increase as well in the connectivity of ERP solutions, making integrations easier. So we had older kind of text file import processes of days gone by, and we've moved forward through web services, SOAP and REST-based web services. And what we're seeing now is an emergence of applications where native APIs are used to communicate with the application. So the latest iteration of this is using technologies such as GraphQL for fast and secure integration with the application. So historically, where systems were deployed on what we used to call dumb terminals, where all of the processing effort was carried out on the server and the results were delivered to the user's terminal. In the 90s and 2000s, we went through client server technology where that concept was reversed and the client application was carrying out a chunk of the work that was being done. But as we move into the modern ERP environment, where the solution is delivered again on a web browser, there's no client software for the IT team to manage, making the IT team's life easier. And it feels like we've kind of gone full circle back to effectively a dumb terminal. The web page feels like a dumb terminal with all the work and effort and processing being carried out on the servers, and the results just being delivered back to the user on that web page. The change in the architecture of ERP solutions has enabled the true growth of cloud solutions. This emergence of cloud native is one of the words that we're seeing. Cloud native offerings from vendors, where there is a true delivery of a software as a service, as the industry is calling it, which is offering a more simple route into ERP. No service to manage, no need to worry about backups, uptime, etc. But conversely, this can bring about restrictions. So with restrictions on what you can do in such an environment, bespoke coding, protocols for interfacing, and even questions around ownership of data. There's a lot of noise in the industry at the moment around a number of ERP vendors that are pushing customers from old on-premise solutions, which have been heavily modified, into their new shiny cloud-based solutions where there are restrictions as to how much development can be carried out. There's lots of news in the press about the current SAP sunset of the ECC solution and the pathway put in front of those customers to move either to the SAP cloud solution or S4 HANA, which is resulting in mammoth-sized projects, which the customer's not ready to engage in. But all the time, the sunset of the old SAP version is looming fast. So I think what this has meant over the years, over the last couple of decades, is customers have now been through a number of ERP cycles, and they understand the pitfalls of things like heavy bespoke solutions and the move to cloud environments and the levels of ERP software that have deeper functionality should eradicate this over the coming years. I think customers are going to be more focused on using standard systems and not tying their systems into heavily bespoke solutions. And the cloud environments that we're seeing come out from vendors is kind of driving that clean core concept of ERP, where the onboarding journey is to adapt your business processes to the core functionality of the system, which in turn is kept with a clean core, clean of bespoke changes, and making that upgrade journey in the future much more simple. One of the other changes that I've seen over the past decade is the users. So we're now seeing millennials and Generation Z users coming through and becoming the new users of ERP systems. And they look at an ERP system and they look perplexed, because they've been brought up using devices and consoles without any training and just expect to pick up a piece of software and start using it. So this is pushing vendors to significantly enhance their user interface and the user experience in the ERP systems to make them more intuitive. And if we're honest, most ERP systems at the moment are anything but intuitive. And finally, the last biggest change in the market has been the move from perpetual to subscription licensing. This has created a much lower initial cost of entry for a customer into a new ERP system. So the decision for companies to embark on a new ERP project has been made a little bit easier due to the removal of that initial significant capital outlay.